With ICC Accredited Counsel and CenterLaw Philippines Executive Director Attorney Gilbert Andres. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Gretchen, and good morning to your televiewers.
I may ask if you are still reporting to us live from The Hague.
Yes, live from The Hague. It's 2:46 a.m.
Thank you so much for being with us. Unang-unang tanong ko, kamusta naman yung atmosphere dyan? The last I talked to you in person was outside the ICC headquarters. Mainit pa yung tension doon. Pero sa ngayon, meron pa rin ba mga protest rally na nagaganap dyan sa Hague?
Well, there's some gatherings by our fellow Filipinos. So I think it's still ongoing.
Pero hindi na kasing init noon. Kasi naging tourist site na yung yung penitentiary.
As to whether mainit siya, I don't really know, Gretchen, because I actually don't go nearby.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's go to the response of the ICC prosecution to the request of the defense to disqualify the two judges. Doesn't it make sense also if they had already ruled on this back in 2021 that the Philippines has jurisdiction, or the ICC has jurisdiction over the Philippines in terms of this case for the time period that is being investigated, that they inhibit from another case on jurisdiction? What would you say to that?
Actually, it's not a ground for disqualification because, in fact, that is provided for by the Rome Statute. Under Article 15 of the Rome Statute, the judges can actually make a preliminary determination as to jurisdiction. That's why the judges made that preliminary jurisdiction. But that preliminary determination is without prejudice to a subsequent challenge. So that is actually authorized by the Rome Statute, and it's not really a ground for their disqualification.
Kasi dito yung ina-argue ng prosecution ay 2 taon daw ang tinagal, no? Bago nasimulan yung investigasyon, at sinasabi dapat within 1 year. Hindi ba parang we're going back to square one by invoking that? How does it work in the ICC?
Actually, that's really the challenge, if there's a request for recusal or disqualification. In fact, it was argued by the prosecutor in the comment given by the Office of the Prosecutor that if we will actually use the interpretation by the defense, then it will give a absurd result. Wherein if a judge gives a initial determination on an issue of law, that a judge will actually just be recused from a subsequent determination on the same legal issue, when in fact that's part of judicial duty to actually determine legal issues. Actually, Gretchen, when it comes to disqualification, it really is with respect to factual issues. So if that judge made a factual determination before or was actually related to the case in another capacity aside from being a judge, that's really the ground for disqualification. But in this case, there's really no legal basis for asking for the disqualification.
We know that you represent the victims, but what is your official role there now? Have you been recognized by the ICC? We know that there was a petition to have the victims represented by one body, by the OPCV. Meron na bang response yung ICC doon?
Kasi, Gretchen, hindi pa nag-start yung process for the recognition of the common legal representatives for victims. So that procedure will go on later on pa, not at this period. So antabayanan pa natin yung ang official process na yun for common legal representatives.
But if ever, what will you be appealing for? What is the ideal setup?
Well, as of this moment, there's actually a move to take the views of the victims as to what will be the characteristics of the common legal representative for victims that they want to be appointed. And I think siguro yung isang view dyan, dahil nga nandun na nga sa dahig yung paglilitis at yung mga abogado doon ay mga foreigners, hindi po sila mga Pilipino, siguro mas maganda na yung i-appoint din ay mga Pilipino din para mas madaling makaintindi at madali po silang makipag-ugnayan po sa mga biktima. So yun po yung mga views po na ginagather po ngayon.
So if ever there will be a lead Filipino lawyer to represent, that would be ideal.
Well, we hope so, para magkaroon din naman ng connection sa Philippine community at para din maunawaan ng ating mga kababayan ng mga naging biktima kung ano po talaga yung proseso. Kasi talagang malaking challenge din yung language barrier. Malaking challenge na nga yung technical issue kasi highly technical nga yung mga issues before the ICC. Tapos mas mapapadali po siya kung isang Pilipino po nakakaintindi po ng wika ng mga victims ang ma-appoint po. At yan po yung ating hope.
Oo, pero malamang isa lang. I mean, kasi yung request na yon to have one legal representative stems from ang daming lawyer, nitong mga victims and witnesses. Pero eventually, that will be trimmed down to a team. Is that correct?
Siguro yung magandang isipin, isang team lang. At yung isang team na yon, pwedeng nabubuo siya ng isang lead counsel, tapos meron ding assistant counsel, meron ding case manager, at kung appoint, meron ding lead investigator. So yun po yung goal, magkaroon po ng isang team para po sa mga lahat ng victim.
The ICC Pretrial Chamber 1 has granted the request to extend the deadline for the disclosure of witnesses and submission of documents in relation to that. What does that mean for the victims? Meron bang mga takot itong mga biktima na ipinapahayag sa inyo when it comes to that disclosure? Kamusta na sila ngayon?
Actually, that's always a constant concern at fear ng ating mga client na victims na magkaroon po ng intimidation or magkaroon po ng talagang coercive environment around them. Kaya that's always been the presumption. Kaya talagang iba yung pag-iingat lang. At we're hoping na talagang this will be a secure environment para po sa mga victims.
Pero attorney, meron na bang mga maglalakas loob na humarap sa dating presidente? Paano gagawin yung paglilitis na yan? I mean, na-witness natin itong pagbabasa sa kanya ng mga charges. Pero when it comes to the actual case, yung paglilitis, do we expect that to be viewed to the public?
So yung trial sa September 20, it's a public trial. Any ICC proceedings, any hearing will be public. And then actually when it comes to the victims, so hindi po sila necessarily kailangan pong pumunta doon. Kaya nga po mayroon po silang common legal representative for victims. Maganda nga kung mayroong makapunta pong isang victim na mag-represent. So, yung kanilang pong common legal representative, yung mag-represent sa kanila. Tapos, ang talagang magiging goal po ng confirmation of charges is to show na talagang dapat po siyang mag-proceed to trial. Yan po magiging goal ng Office of the Prosecutor. So, mag-present po ng evidence. At usually, Gretchen, it's very rare talaga na may in-person na witness na i-represent. Although the prosecutor already disclosed na there will be at most 2 in-person witnesses. At as to who are those 2 in-person witnesses, antabayan po natin kasi hindi po natin alam as of the moment.
Alright. Maraming salamat for the updates from The Hague. And thank you so much for staying up for us, for those. We have Attorney Gilbert Andres representing the victims, of course, in the trial or the case against the former president in the International Criminal Court. Maraming salamat.